Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Musicians Creating Prosperity podcast. In today's episode, we're going to discuss how you can create a personal brand that will allow you to sustain any business venture you're associated with, whether it's your current studio, whether it's your current brand and performing work activities, why you want to think long term about building a personal based brand that will ensure that no matter what you're involved in, you continue building a loyal base of subscribers, of audience members, and supporters that will be with you for the long term. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Musicians Creating Prosperity podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Fabiana Claure. And today we're going to talk about why you want to think long-term when it comes to building your personal brand. You see, for the longest time, I have seen musicians make the mistake of linking their content directly with their offers, whether they're teaching music, whether they're teaching performance anxiety, whether they are working as a performer and gigging. And everything they've created around their online presence is centered very specifically and narrowly only about what they do in their current professional, right? And when I started my very first business back in 2011, which is a brick and mortar music school called Superior Academy of Music, I didn't think long term. I just focused on starting the business, building it, and little would I know that 5 years into it, I would actually be moving to another state, starting a different job, and delegating my business to kind of run itself on autopilot, right? With the assistance of my husband, who was managing it remotely, but that I would physically remove myself from my business. I would have never thought that when I just started the process. And if I would have known from the very beginning, I would have set out to create my brand positioning in a different way than when I just started. Why? Because when you realize that ultimately, as an entrepreneur, chances are your businesses are going to evolve. You may start a business, you may leave the business or delegate it, transition it. You may start another business eventually, then you may evolve that one. You want to think in terms of long-term strategy, and why not limiting your brand identity to your single business is possibly the best way to go about it. You don't want to be fixed to one business. You want to build a brand that encompasses all of who you are and what you do and your values and what you believe in, so that no matter what businesses you're involved in, whether it's a studio, whether eventually you're performing, whether you're doing a blend of both, maybe you become a producer at some point, or maybe you start your own organization, maybe it's a for-profit, maybe you have a for-profit and later a non-profit. There's so many ways that you may end up evolving your career, which is why you don't want all your brand to be just about your business. It needs to be about something bigger than your business, which is you. Why? Because that's the only constant that will not change. You are going to continuously evolve, you're going to grow. And what you want is to create an awareness around your community, your followers, and your audience in general, that you have a core set of beliefs and values that you care about, no matter what business you're working in, right? And no matter what is the actual product or service that you end up offering in any given time. So, for me, this has been really eye opening because this is something I'm constantly asking myself, and my team is also pushing me to think bigger, right? Think long term. And I wanted to make an episode about this because, again, why do I do these episodes? Is to bring you in on my journey, on the things that I'm thinking about, what I believe you could benefit from, and why it could be so transformational for you to just come alongside the journey that I'm going through. And as I'm evolving now, my second business, as I started back in 2011. I never thought that I would one day be removed from the business. And now I'm almost 4.5 years into my second business. And I feel this amazing vision of where I want to take things. And at the same time, I see that there's some commonalities between who I am who I was when I created my first business and who I am now as I'm building my second business. And that's what I want to communicate uh, first and foremost, right? So I have a set of values, to give you some examples. For me, it's about being able to have an empowered attitude towards life. Whether you're doing this in the context of your business as an entrepreneur, or whether you're doing this in the context of your health, I am a passionate advocate for wellness and health and feeling empowered around what you can do in your lifestyle goals and balance and sense of alignment, and how to create that confidence that you can, in fact, take control of your health. That's a huge topic that, I haven't been really talking enough about. And my team knows me and they encouraged me. They said, Fabiana, you should be talking more about other things that you think about in addition to what you really love talking about, which is business, entrepreneurship, etc. Because people deserve to know, like, what are your thoughts around all these important topics, right? Um, and so I've been thinking a lot about this in my own kind of brand and identity, and thinking about how I can bring this more to the topics of conversations that I talk about on a regular basis in my podcasting and other venues and other places. And I just wanted for you to also join me in this journey and think about maybe in your business, in the way you're creating content. Maybe you have inadvertently been restricting the content to be very directly related to what you do in the moment. Maybe it's time you too start thinking more long term regarding, what are the pieces of content that you want to continue evolving and bringing to the conversation that may or may not directly relate to what you're offering, right? But at the same time will help you expand your visibility, reach a wider audience, and by default cast a wider net into what you're trying to do and who you're trying to bring in, whether it's clients, whether it's collaborators, whether it's sponsors, uh, anyone that you may want to bring into your world. Chances are they're going to come to you not just because of what you do or because of how good you are, but truly because of who you are. And the only way you can create that clarity around who you are is when you stand in your convictions and you clarify, first of all, for yourself, what are the things that you really care about? What do you feel passionate about enough about talking that you would like to bring to the conversation time and time again? What are those core values for you, right? For me, wellness is a huge one. Family is another one. Being able to create the right relationship balance in life. I think we overestimate normal stressors like work, like financial stressors, um, and we underestimate how challenging it can be to have a dysfunctional family environment in your home. No matter how much you're working right now on your health, on your wellness, maybe you're going to the gym every day, maybe you're eating super healthy. If you don't focus on creating harmony in your life, in your household, with your spouse, with your kids, whoever is in your immediate circle, right? If you accidentally take relationships for granted and you don't prioritize creating and nurturing your home environment, no matter how healthy you are in other areas of your life, those relationships or dysfunctional relationships will cause stress. They will take away from your business, they will take away from your finances, they will certainly take away from your health. So looking at that area in your life and really asking yourself, am I being as intentional as I need to be around fostering the right home environment, creating harmony, creating positive communication, focusing on sometimes having uncomfortable conversations if needed to set the right boundaries, right? Uh, are you advocating for the health of your household? Not just the health of your business, not just your own health, but the health of your relationships, right? So there's so many things that I really love talking about, and I'm going to be bringing this more to the conversation here in our podcast and other platforms because I truly believe life is about finding balance in everything, and it's not enough to just focus on building a business, being strategic, working smarter, not harder. It's also important to do it in the context of maintaining a balanced life where you're looking for the elements that you feel you need to be supported and to reach success and to achieve your goals that are usually not just going to be one-sided. Most of the conversations I have with musicians and when we talk about business and achieving freedom and financial freedom and monetizing your knowledge instead of your time, the reason why most musicians want this, the reason why chances you are listening to this right now, is not just because of the initial end goal of having more income, having more disposable income, having more control over your time. It's because of what you'll be able to do with that additional time, with that increased income, isn't it? And if you are not able to foster the right types of relationships in your household, if you are not healthy, if you are not feeling at peace, if you're not in constant pursuit of that alignment, then no matter how successful your business is, you're never going to feel satisfied. You're never going to feel fully complete because you may have inadvertently just single sidedly focused on one aspect of growth, business growth, financial growth, albeit out of survival mechanisms. I recognize that, it can get sometimes really scary to be in a mode where you're worried about how you're going to make ends meet, and finding a way to stay afloat can, in a way, sometimes take over a lot of the other things in life. I get it. I get it. I've been there too. However, my goal for this podcast, and really for all of you in my community, is to help you think bigger, to help you raise your belief, raise your perception of what's possible, and to empower you to see things at a different level so that you can achieve new things, right? If you continue looking for your goals at the same level that you were looking for them before you listen to this episode, chances are you're going to pretty much continue doing what you've been doing. But if I can help you raise your goals, right? And elevate what you actually want, then you're going to change what you're doing in a greater capacity because your goals are now feeling a lot more stretched. And that's a good thing. So, family, wellness, of course, financial empowerment is one of the core values that I share, that I believe in, because without that, that's the vehicle, that's the gasoline that fuels everything else, right? Without that, it's hard to achieve much in life. But that cannot be the only pursuit, the only goal. There needs to be a more well-rounded, comprehensive perspective around what do you care about, so that your content can reflect that, right? Your content can reflect everything you care about and help bring people in to those values, not just to your offers and your services and your programs, if you know what I mean, right? So there's many ways that we can tackle this topic, and I'm sure I'm going to do more episodes around that. But for today, I just wanted to share with you this insight, this epiphany, which is, how can you create a sustainable brand that reflects your personal perspective, your personal core values, and that grows alongside of you, regardless of what specific offer you are involved in, right? You may be like me, that I started with a brick and mortar music school with my husband. And 5 years later, we moved to another place, and now the school runs itself in Florida, in Miami, and we live in a different area, right? Um, Now I have a second business, which is an online business mentorship program that guides musicians how to grow, scale their businesses online. And that's what I'm doing now, right? Chances are a few years from now, I'm going to be evolving yet again in a different way and new things, and continue to build these blocks. So for you, whatever you're building right now, whatever you're involved in, hopefully after listening to this episode, you may take a step back and really reflect on whether you see it yet or not. What would it look like if you were not 100% involved in this current offer, this current service, this current program? And what would you want to be still a part of your content, your messaging, your brand, that would continue to evolve and grow and compound, if you will, no matter what entity you're involved in, no matter how many offers you have, how many services you provide, maybe how many products you bring into the marketplace? What is your brand about? What do you care about? What do you want to lay the foundation for, regardless of what you're actually offering? Right? And think about this, because it starts with your internal decision. When you make that decision, you decide, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I want to communicate, you're actually going to get excited about maybe discovering sides of yourself that you didn't realize were important to you. It's not until you sit down and you really ask yourself these deeper questions. What do you want people to remember about you? What do you want people to always be able to look back on and say, these are the main core tenets of your philosophy, of your perspective, of your goals, of your values, right? What would that look like for you, not only in the next year, maybe the next 10 years, maybe the next 20 years? Think bigger, raise your goals, and think about how you can start creating content from a much more strategic perspective, thinking long term, not just short term. Let me know if this helps you. I'd love to hear your comments. As always, leave us a review so that we can reach more people in this community. We want to be able to help raise the bar for so many musicians around the world and creatives. So let us know what your takeaways are from this episode. Thanks again for listening. Thank you for watching. And until next time, let's prosper together.